Big Drive Energy live here from the Hangar Club in Denver. Shout out to the Hangar Club for having us out. This is a great spot if you're wanting to practice your golf. They've got 10 simulators in here, TrackMan on all of it, as you can see behind me here. There's just options to play different courses. You can practice, you can hit the range, you can do whatever. They also recently just opened their patio in the back, so it's indoor outdoor. Basically, all the windows flip outside, and you've got this great patio area. They've got bags, they've got darts, they've got giant Jenga, all these sorts of games. They have DJs out here, so make sure you check out the Hangar Club if you're looking for a place to hang out. Not only is it a great place to come play golf, but just to hang out and have drinks. The bar is incredible. The drinks are incredible. The food, they have this great pretzel. It's like as big as my head, even bigger. Actually, I have a small head, so it's bigger than my head, and it's incredible. Hangar Club is by far our favorite spot to practice golf. I'm actually a couple bays over from where I won my spring golf league. I know, not a big deal, right, Mitchell? Yeah, come check out the Hangar Club. They've got summer leagues, spring leagues, winter leagues. It's a great spot if you're in the Denver area to come hang out for a day or join a league or just make it your home club. It is open to the public. Some people have asked if it's private or public, but it is open to the public. You can come just any day, make a tee time, and come play some really cool golf courses. They've got so many on these TrackMans that you can just play U.S. Open courses. You can play British Open courses, or Open Championship courses, I should say. Just an incredible spot all around. So we're going to fire up some golf talk today, talking about a little bit about Rory and Amanda Balionis, their embrace, their uncomfortable embrace, one might say. And then talk about some other things in the golf world. Recently, we've got a great interview coming up for you guys. Won't tease it yet, but we've got an interview coming up that we'll release next Monday before the U.S. Open. We've got the Memorial this weekend to talk about, new TaylorMade golf heads coming out, the new Titleist driver debuts this weekend, pictures of Tiger, all that stuff. So we're going to discuss that all here on Big Drive Energy. Let's tee it up. What's up, brother? How you doing today?
What's up, brother? So speaking of good cocktails, your voice sounds like you had a few of those last night. What is the story? What were you doing?
I just actually went through puberty finally, so.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say your voice sounds a little bit deeper. Was this your first night really going out like tearing it up since you've been a dad?
No, I don't think so. I think I've had a few nights like this, but yeah, so we went to the Rockies game and then went to Tap 14 after that, and had a few too many vodka sodies, but I was kind of trapped because like I could have just like Ubered home from there, but my phone died, so I had to Uber home to Ryan's, and then from there I had to charge my phone and then finally call an Uber to get home. So we were just talking, having guys night, just talking it up all night, and I could slowly feel my voice just slipping away as the night went on. Not enough vodka sodas could make my throat feel any better.
Dude, talk about peak anxiety, and I've never actually let it happen to me, but I know. Well, and I'm shocked that you let it happen to yourself. Losing power to your phone, that is something that if it happens, it was a major fuck up because nobody ever wants to lose power to their phone. It is like one of the most stressful, anxiety-inducing things. Because, like you said, anymore nowadays you can't get around without a phone. You can't get an Uber. You can't. Rent a scooter or anything, and you're obviously not driving. So you could have gone out and like hailed a taxi. You could have gone and waved your arm out there, see if anybody picked you up.
Yeah, I know. I guess I could have used my debit card and tried to pick up a taxi. Well, ironically, the Uber that I had home was like an old taxi car. You could just tell like somebody like spray painted over it. It was this sick pink color, but I just needed to get
Hell
home.
yeah.
It was 1 a.m. on a Tuesday night, well into a Wednesday morning. So I was like, and then of course today of all days, my son decides not only to get up once at like 4 a.m. Great, normal thing. I got up, whatever, but then he decides he wants to be fully awake at like 6:45, 7 a.m. So that was a treat.
Yeah, I'm not used to like text. I texted you probably at like 6:30 your time this morning, and I usually get a fiery response. You're usually fucking already halfway through your day at that point, but this morning I did not get that same kind of happy response back. So I was wondering what went on with you. I did play 9 holes yesterday, and then I am playing a little bit of golf this upcoming weekend in Charleston. I'm playing Stono Ferry again with our buddy Oliver. So playing a little bit of golf. Dude, like you said, you feel like you're lost with the irons. I'm also kind of in the same spot where I don't know which direction they're going necessarily. I'm kind of in a in between phase with my clubs where just with mostly with the irons where I'm thinking a little bit too much in my golf swing, and then it's like if I just aim at the flag, I feel like it could go left or right. And when I really peer it, it's been a little bit of a pull. So I'm trying to work on that internally, but it's a battle, dude. Like when you go tee it up and you don't know what you've got, it is like one of the most frustrating things, and you're almost like, why am I even here right now? Like, what am I doing?
Yeah, when you're standing over the ball and you just kind of have no idea what is about to happen on each golf shot, it's definitely concerning. I am starting to hit my irons left, which is an issue. It's like I have two iron shots right now, and they're not like so bad that I can't like deal with it. But I have the pull left when I hit it pure, and then I have it's like I rotate back and forth. So then I pull one left, then the next time I hit an iron shot, I'm like, all right, do not pull this over to the left. So I leave the club face wide open and wipe it, and I hit it like 20 yards short and right of the flag,
Dude,
and
that's
then
actually my two misses right now, also.
I cycle back to okay, don't wipe it and be 20 yards short. Oh, another pull hook that's long, sweet.
Yeah. I'm working on trying to get my path more inside out, and I think that's probably your issue as well, just swinging too far to the left. But to efficiently do that, I'm working parts of my body that I'm not used to working in the golf swing. So I have to get my hands a little bit more around me. I'm making a little bit more like a bigger turn. And with my scoliosis, it doesn't fucking work out that well. So I end up getting caught from the inside a few times, hitting those short right, like push fades. And then I'll get one where I just yank it 20 yards left and it goes 15 yards further. I'm like, oh, that's a fucking treat.
Yeah, so like there's my golf swing kind of after I hit all those drives on Monday, my lower back was a little bit tight, but I did legs at the gym yesterday, and I did like some split squat scenario with like like the assisted weights where it holds it.
What is a
And
split? Oh, is that a one-legged squat where your
yeah,
one leg is up?
yeah, kind of like that, and then also like mix in a few lunges, and bro, my butt cheeks are on fire right now. It's like absurd. Like I'm like, when you're already like hungover, and you're kind of out of it already, and then you're sore and you can't even really walk correctly. It's just I'm kind of a disaster all around.
Bro, that is like a precursor, I feel like, to getting sick. Like your body's sore and you're hungover, you're like, I might be getting a cold.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's these allergies are absolutely terrorizing me right now, so that's also
Yeah,
fun.
I can tell because you're whispering into the mic. You're not whispering, but you're definitely a little bit quieter than I'm used to hearing. Along with your energy level is not quite where it usually is. But let's go ahead and get into some golf, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it. Where do you want to start?
Well, let's start with Rory. I feel like that was a big thing on social media yesterday. The pictures of the embrace between him and Amanda Balionis. Like, are we seeing a budding relationship out of this PGA Tour? Like, think of the whole like Rory's like, thank God I didn't go to live now because he ends up like marrying Amanda Balionis. That could have been like the end of that if he would have gone to live. So maybe he had alternate ideas of why he needed to stay on the PGA Tour. Maybe he was just doing it for Amanda. It's like in
Yeah,
middle school when you're like, I can't switch schools because the girl I like is in that school.
yeah, I got into this college, but I want to go to this other college because I'm following a female over there. Seen
And
it
talk about
so
like
many
the
times.
worst decision of your life, following a female to a college that you don't want to, or just anywhere that you don't want to go to. I would say in general that's a bad idea. But what do you really? I mean, like obviously this is overplayed on the internet, but let's put like let's get a hotness reading, like a heat read on what we actually think is going to happen? Like, are they actually going to date? What are your feelings around that?
I'm sure that there'll be a quiet relationship for a while if it does end up turning into something. I think that right now Rory is he's loving the single life. You know, he had
He's
openly
only been
admitted.
single for like 2 weeks, bro.
I know that's plenty. You only need one day, really. He admitted that he was slightly hungover. So me and Rory super relatable on Monday or not Monday Thursday of the RBC because he went out and partied for his caddy's birthday the night before. Too many glasses of wine, according to him. I'm sure that it wasn't just wine, but he went out and partied and then made 9 straight pars and ended up shooting 66. So that was just kind of a how good are these guys really? And you know, everybody touts like whenever you see a pro shoot around, and people will be like, just random everyday golfers will say, "Oh, well, they don't have to do it hungover." And little do you know that probably a lot more than you think. Athletes have incredible performances when they're sick or hungover, you know. So maybe Rory just needs to play hungover every Thursday because
I was gonna
the
say,
week slightly went downhill from there.
I was gonna say, wasn't his best round of the week was when he was hungover? So maybe he should have just tried to recreate that. Like we remember the Eddie Pepperell Sunday at the Open Championship where he went out and almost won it a few years ago, and he said he was severely hungover. But I want to get your opinion on a few things that we just discussed. Well, number one, what point do you get to where you're just strictly like a wine drinker? Like, is it a level of wealth? Is it an age? Because I don't think I'm ever going to be like, yeah, I had a few too many glasses of wine. Like, you just try to sound. I feel like that's such a try hard. Like, yeah, I'm a wine drinker. Like, I feel like you're either born a wine drinker and you're that kind of person, or you force yourself to be like a wine guy. And I think that's like a douchebag move.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a level of a status level if you're just a wine person. Um,
Yeah.
for
Like
me,
LeBron made it like a wine thing. Like everybody needs to drink wine.
right, like wine to me, dude. I had some wine on Sunday night because we got some steaks and they were the best steaks I've ever made. I absolutely crushed that grill job. But we had some wine with it, and like I take like three, and wine always it's always drinking in general is like this. It always seems like a great idea until and then when you're in it, it seems like an even better idea, and then by the time it's over and the next day, you're like that was a horrible idea. But wine, I'll get 2 to 3 sips in every time, and my cheeks go immediately full Sunday red, and
Yeah.
then I'm like, "Ah, I can't do this, but it just feels like the right thing to do when you're eating a steak. I actually went back to back steaks Sunday and Monday, and back to back nights of wine. So maybe I'm in that class. Maybe it's just a thing. You know, I'm 30 now. I guess I'm just an adult and doing the
Yeah.
wine steak nights.
Now you got shit faced at a baseball game on a random Tuesday night. I wouldn't necessarily call that an adult move. Um, let's circle back on the Sunday Red because you mentioned Sunday Red. They also just dropped a new line of clothing, which is funny. But I don't know if you saw last week on social media, but Kevin Durant is on like Hinge and shit now. Kevin Durant's on the dating apps. Do you think Rory's on like Raya or anything like that? How crazy would that be to like swipe across his profile?
Well, there's got to be. You would think that unless the guys just don't care enough, or guys or gals or whoever's on those apps, like there's got to be a celebrity level of that app, right?
That's Raya. That's
Oh, okay.
yeah,
I
that's
hadn't heard of it. I had just assumed it was another dating app, but like you have to, basically you have to qualify your bank account to be in Raya.
bless you,
Bless you.
Marissa.
Bless
Marissa's
your
allergic
soul.
to golf. Yeah, I think that Rory, and I just don't even necessarily see. He's got to have just like a finder, like a person that just seeks people out for him directly, so he's not in the headlines or anything like that. But I just think it's hilarious when celebrities like I wouldn't say you got to stoop low, but being a celebrity and going on a dating app is pretty wild to me. Like a lot of those people shun publicity, and that's how you know KD is just. Oh, you finally putting the sunglasses on. Is that
Yeah,
because
dude.
you're hungover or just
Something.
forgot them in your head?
No, something felt weird, and it was like the sunglasses were like hurting my ears because they were like behind them, and so now I feel back. I'm back. I'm here.
You're all the way back. Well,
Yeah.
it's ironic that they were hurting your ears because that would mean they're like too small for your head, but they might
No,
be kids' glasses in that case.
they were getting pinched onto they were getting pinched by the headset. That was the issue.
I gotcha.
Yeah,
So
and for the record, I do like my kid has the Rockin' Kids sunglasses, which I'm just kind of conditioning him on wearing. He finally will wear a hat now, which is incredible. He would never wear a hat or sunglasses. We'd put it on him and then he'd just like eject it immediately. But we took him to the zoo and it was hot and sunny and we were like, dude, you don't get to take your hat off. Like, sorry, you just don't. Like,
that's
we
just not
fought.
an option.
Yeah, we fought him for like 10 straight minutes, and then he finally gave in. So I feel like that
Finally
was a
succumb to your pressure.
huge parent win for on my end because,
I,
yeah, it was something that he needed to do. Like he doesn't have a choice of wearing this hat. Like otherwise, dude, he's so fair skinned, which I'm whatever. But I can't have this kid turning into a lobster and be looking like an awful parent.
well, I'm pretty sure his head is like as big as yours, so you could just hand him your hat if you're ever in a pinch, and then you
Yeah,
just roast the top of your head.
yeah, 100%. And his sunglasses do fit me. His Rockin' Kid sunglasses do actually fit my head. It's sad.
Dude, I think your son wearing sunglasses would just be a peak photo. Like, get him like those gas station like pug looking ones, just
Yeah.
so swaggy. But speaking of Sunday Red, we just talked about it a few minutes ago. Did you see that they dropped a new line or a new like colorway on social media?
No, I'm gonna look this up right now.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
it's like a very brown, peach, yellow.
yeah, like I like the peach color, but the funniest part was they just keep going on bad like bad advertising. They called it the Jupiter collection, and they were like, "This Jupiter collection is for those of you who love the grind." And it's like, and Jason Sobel quote tweeted it and goes, "Nobody, there's no city that associates with the grind more than Jupiter, Florida, where old rich people go to retire. Like that is the opposite of the grind. So they're just batting 1,000 at this point with their advertising.
Yeah, well, you can tell they've definitely the only thing you can get a logo on is a hat, a limited edition ball marker for 50 beans on their website, and
50
everything else is just standard. I don't see logos. There's, you could buy this at Target, or I can get the Fermi $70 T-shirt, or the Delta PQ Polo for $120.
Yeah, man, these golf companies are getting out of pocket. I don't care what the fucking branding is. I'm not dropping. I mean, there was other polos. Well, so right now we're talking equipment, so let's just talk about the other equipment because TaylorMade and Kith, it's like Mike Tyson saying kiss. TaylorMade and Kith have dropped a collaboration of irons, drivers, wedges, and I would say collectively they look like giant pieces of dog shit. Like so the driver head is like plaid on top and it's like a off white. It's like I don't necessarily it's like a nude color and then like another brownish color of just combined in this checkered logo and that looks terrible and then the irons don't look great. The wedges, do you know what those wedges look like? Are those like bomb tech wedges? You
Oh, yeah.
remember those? You get the set for like $70 on Instagram. They made like that. I forget what it's like that rain or what is that rainbowish like reflective color almost. It looks like I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, like kind of like your shaft is, where it's like
Yes,
different colors and it
my shaft.
your
Yeah,
shaft.
my shaft is so long that it changes colors from bottom to top. No, yes, but my exactly. It's almost like a reflective thing. And then they also made this putter that's like actually like the gunmetal rainbow. It's kind of pinkish yellow on the neck of it, and then it goes down into like a green. But overall, so the pricing, the driver's 650, the irons are 1750 for the set. The wedges are $300 a piece. Can you, dude? $300 wedges. so they're $295. But whatever, that's absurd. The remember when wedges were like $120?
Yeah, I remember we used to do like a set sale, and you could get 3 wedges for basically $300 if you bought them in bulk, if you will, or a set.
Yeah,
It,
yeah.
dude, where do you think, with looking at the pricing of these clubs, and this may be, this is kind of the first look at a club collaboration, I would say. I'm not a fan of it, but I wonder if some people, if this is going to be the new, because, we've kind of talked about it a little bit, but technology is somewhat peaked. And, you can say it's 5 yards longer every single year and all this stuff, and it's really not. But this is the new, like, you have to come out with something new almost every single year because people are going to buy it, and it's just business. When you have a business model where every year, you have a new product, and somebody can buy a new product and spend more money, and they're brand loyal to your product, they're going to do it. So this seems like the new, this is an opening up a whole world of all these manufacturers and equipment brands partnering up with different companies essentially, and creating new lines of clubs where you can get the same, you still make the same product, but then they add in, the plaid top of the driver head, or the different colors of the wedges or the putter, even golf balls. Like they're doing golf balls as well. So the designer golf bag and designer golf clubs are kind of on the horizon. But where does this end in terms of pricing? Let's look into the future real quick and pretend it's 2040. So 16 years from now, is a driver going to be $1,000? Because we've gone from a 300, generally a brand new expensive driver when we were in high school, which is 2010, 2011. So 13 years ago now, you could get a brand new driver for $299, and I think the R11 was $299 when it first came out. Now, I mean, this is like a designer driver at $650, but I'm pretty sure every driver on the market is either $550 or $600 at this point, right?
Yeah, I think standard pricing for a driver now is $600, and I mean, it could go up to $1,000, and it's all relatively about inflation, because I think we were making, when we were in high school, we were making like $750 an hour, cleaning carts and picking the driving range. Now minimum wage is over $15 an hour, so that $300 driver is basically equivalent to a $600 driver. Because if you're a little cart kid like us and you're making over $15 an hour, it's basically the exact equivalent. So I guess golf is following inflation, but yeah, eventually a driver is going to be $1,000. Irons are going to be $3,000, $4,000 a set, and green fees, dude. Like, I've seen, especially in Colorado and really everywhere, because golf, there's such a demand for it. But green fees in the last 3-4 years, and we've talked about it, but they've gone up probably 40 to 50%. It is insane.
Oh, yeah, it's just straight up, everything is just going up, and it's just,
Robert,
it just seems like there's no stopping it. There is one way to beat inflation, and that's by winning sports bets, and you can win sports bets over at Bet365. Use our code ALLCITY at sign up. Bet365 is the app we use to bet all the golf. We have the each way 1 through 12 bets and picks every single week. This week on the card here, we'll just get that out there in the universe. I've got Patrick Cantlay at plus 1,600, and Bet365 is boosting that, so mine is boosted 50%. So plus 1,600 for Patrick Cantlay at the Memorial. Matt Fitzpatrick is plus 3,000, and Ben On. I'm gonna ride my guy Ben On again. I'm on again, off again with On, but he's getting into that territory of potential blacklist scenario. I do think though he backdoored a top 12 for me once earlier this year, so I think once you do that, you're not allowed to be blacklisted anymore. At that point, you just have to be part of the card, or a guy I can go back to. And then you have Viktor Hovland at plus 1,100, Jason Day at plus 3,500, and Jake Knapp at plus 12,500. Once again, that's Bet365. Use the code ALLCITY at sign up, and you get to choose between two offers of a first bet safety net of $1,000 or betting $5 and getting $150 in bonus bets when you sign up with that code. Must be 21 plus and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you're someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. They will not give you picks, unfortunately. Also want to tell you guys about our great friends over at Shady Rays. Shady Rays sunglasses, the Green Wolf golf glasses. We had somebody tweet us the other day and ask for our code. That code is AC, as in All City 35. Use that
That was
code
our
and you're
boy
getting,
Sergio. Shout out Sergio.
yeah, you're getting 35% off of the Green Wolf polarized glasses. That's the best deal they're going to give you. That's the best deal you're going to find on sunglasses. Shady Rays is an independent sunglass company that offers a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. They have durable frames, crystal clear optics, and they're my favorite glasses to golf in. I've been doing a good job of just leaving them in my golf bag. And the other day when I was playing, it was a little overcast. The Shady Rays just changed the entire. I took them off and I was like, wow, it's a lot darker and shittier out than it appears. So they definitely have your favorite style. They've got team colors as well if you're like a team color guy. Now, I'm not a team color guy in terms of the frames, but I'm a pretty bland frame guy. Give me white, give me gray, maybe a wood grain. But I do like to switch up the lenses, and they've got great lenses. I always wear my purple lenses for the Rockies games. If your shades ever go missing or take an unexpected hit, you lose them, you drop them, you step on them, don't sweat it, because Shady Rays has the most insane protection program on all of eyewear. Every pair is backed by lost or broken replacements. Also, if you don't love your shades, you can exchange for a new pair or return worry-free within 30 days. There's no risk to shop. Exclusively for all of our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com, use that code AC35 to get 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. All right, speaking of your pick, this kind of parlays into one of our topics today is Viktor Hovland. I'll let you have the floor on this because you basically called it and called him out, and now he's back with Joseph Mayo. And kind of an interesting clip here. Marissa, can we play this clip? Is that possible? Yeah, I'll send that over right now.
Oh yeah,
But
so on Twitter.
yeah, so just talk a little bit about what Viktor Hovland did, and then we'll get this clip up.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the biggest thing that he improved in, he had all the ball striking, but then he was working last year with Joseph Mayo. And we talked about this a couple weeks ago when he went back to him and then immediately saw results, performing at the PGA Championship. He was in contention when he was avoiding, all of these big money events because he simply was afraid of embarrassing himself. And it is crazy to think about because this time last year was kind of his coming out party where he won at the Memorial, kicked us right in the nuts. We had Denny McCarthy on the card, lost in a playoff, but Viktor Hovland kind of started his meteoric rise where he ultimately won the Tour Championship last season this week at the Memorial a year ago today or this week. So I think it's just huge for, in all honesty, at this tour level, a lot of instructors, work is having them mentally prepared and mentally confident because it's not necessarily their talent that comes and goes. Obviously, they're very talented. They're at the level that they're at the PGA Tour for a reason. So it's more just about having them in a confident and correct mindset to go out and be able to win and have that self-belief. So I think something as small as going back to Joseph Mayo, working on probably the same stuff they worked on last year has gotten him right back on track to be one of the best players in the world.
All right, so we can't pop up the clip, but what did Victor say? Because they didn't. I mean, they obviously asked him about going back to Joseph Mayo, but it was also more about like tinkering and what he learned from tinkering.
Yeah, I honestly I watched it a couple days ago, so I don't remember exactly unless I watch it right now. But we had a clip actually that went, I wouldn't say viral on social media, but it popped quite a bit talking about how everybody loves to tinker, and the PGA Tour is these guys are just like everybody else in golf. Good is the enemy of great. They feel like there's always room to improve, and so they're always messing around with little stuff, and it's like, when is enough? You got to be comfortable with where your game is. You got to feel good about it, and just be happy with winning events. And just because golf is not a game of perfect, and that was actually a book, I'm quoting a book title here, but you can chase perfection, but you can never, have your hands on it. So I think Viktor, he just needs to be happy with where he's at and feel, confident and comfortable with his game, and look, what it's already gotten him in the last few weeks.
Yeah, I mean he's hopefully back to the old Viktor Hovland that because he's one of the favorites. Like he's a fan favorite. Everybody loves watching him be good. He's not. He's just like kind of just your down home, likable guy, like from Sweden. So I mean, it's just he's a fan favorite. One of the guys that was obviously talked about going to live a ton, but now he's staying on the PGA Tour and hopefully turns back around, and we'll see. I mean, we're going to see him later this year in Colorado at the BMW. That's going to be awesome, but just an electric player and kind of a guy he's just super relatable to the average player because he'll hit some bad shots and he laughs about it, and he's not quite as hot mic guy as like Tyrrell Hatton, but same kind of scenario. Like he hit some bad chips and he was struggling with the short game, and it was he was very open and honest about that, but it was Viktor's just a great guy to have. He's a great guy for golf.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He is one of the PGA Tour's, stalwarts, I would say, budding stars, quote unquote. And I think he will get that major as well. I don't see him necessarily going the Xander Schauffele trajectory. Well, I guess I do, but I don't think that he's going to get that label of where he can't win the big one. I think we will see him win a major sometime in the next year or two. But just for the love of God, do not leave Joseph Mayo again, Viktor, because you saw what I did the first time. Just stick with him, pay him his 10%, and keep it in the middle of the fairway, hit greens, and get it up and down. His putter last year, I think, was a big difference as well. He putted the ball really well, and what do we see him doing? I mean, we don't. Neither of us. I mean, I have him on my card this week. Specifically because he won last year at the Memorial, but we'll see what he does in the U.S. Open in a couple weeks. We'll see what kind of shape his game is in, and really how good he is right now at Pinehurst.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun couple weeks, Memorial leading into the U.S. Open. We have a special guest that's joining the podcast today with us at the place we met, the origination of the Gizmo Big Drive Energy podcast. So we've got Nick Gismondi on with us. Let me get you that bad boy, so that's so you can hear Mitchell. And then we'll pop that bad boy on, and we'll talk some golf. We'll talk some hockey. We can revisit our podcast with you from a couple weeks ago and see how bad our picks were.
No.
But one of the things.
Gizmo, how are you, man?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. What's the story over at the Hangar Club today? What are you guys doing?
I mean, this place is the OG spot, like you were just saying. It's where we met. So It's like there's nostalgia here. I feel like this is special.
This is a special moment.
I missed you.
I know. It's been a while. Yeah. I know. We played golf here, then we played golf over at Cherry Creek, and
we did.
Now it's just
we did.
The summer is upon us. So how have you been playing some golf recently? Been getting out there?
Yeah, I've been getting out. Creek is pure right now.
I can only imagine.
Which is just awesome. I mean, that's such a happy place for me. But then I've got this place too, which is home number 2. So when it's too hot outside and when you just want to kind of relax and kind of hone things, I cruise in here. So and it's basically Cherry Creek indoors.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's going to be 90 degrees today. I'd much rather be hitting golf balls in here than outside.
Yeah, today. I agree with you, buddy.
I was going to say, what do you guys think? So we talked about this a little bit. Gizmo, what's your favorite thing to practice on a simulator? Because obviously it's not 100% real golf, but there is actually a lot of benefits to practicing in a simulator. So what is like your favorite thing to work on when you're at the simulator?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's a big one for me because I'm your 10 handicap, 9, 8, 9, 10 handicap depending upon where I'm at in the summer. So for me, I'm not looking as intently at like ball speed and swing speed. For me, it's just trying to get my tempo right and stay on plane. And I love the ability to look at mid irons like the 6, the 7, and then the driver, just to make sure that I can get my tempo right and kind of understand where I'm at in terms of staying on plane. So for me, the visual representation of the TrackMan and getting that line and getting that tracer technology, and then sort of where I'm hitting it on the club face relates for me pretty easily, because I'm kind of a numbers guy. So when I can kind of see that and then correlate it and then feel my swing the right way and then see what the result was visually, just how it starts and how it finishes, like that's the benefit of the TrackMan.
Yeah, well, and like you said, if you're a numbers guy, being on a TrackMan is the greatest thing, because you can. Some people can, Vic Lombardi actually said this on the radio, but he was getting rid of his TrackMan because he was so into the numbers that it actually drowned him and made his golf game worse. But if you take it with a grain of salt, at least you're just giving yourself more information to know what's going on, and that can never hurt you.
Yeah, I'm down the middle with that. I don't get overly involved with it. Like, even when I'm broadcasting hockey games, like, I use the numbers as a guide, not gospel.
Yep.
I think that's probably the best way to say it. So same thing with golf for me. Like, I look at the numbers and I'm like, okay, this is giving me the parameters in which I can operate inside.
Yeah, 100%. So let's go back and... Oh, go ahead, Mitch.
I was just going to say real quick, I think one of the great benefits, too, of practicing on a simulator is for, like, wedge distances. That is where so many PGA Tour players have gotten dialed in, hitting, like, that 60-yard shot, the 75-yard shot, really anything under 100, where a lot of people tend to struggle generally because it's not a full shot. Getting that work in and knowing your numbers and getting those numbers dialed in, I think, is huge as well on the TrackMan.
Well, that makes a good point, and actually I'm glad you just said that, because I hadn't necessarily thought about that, but that is the point of my game right now that is struggling the most. Like, I'll be very honest with you, I stand over a 100-yard shot, and I generally have a sense of that swing. I stand over a 60 or a 50 or a 30-yard shot, and I might as well be blind. I have no feel, no concept. I mean, I'm completely guessing when it comes to anything below 100 yards. I have no idea where that take back is, and then it's the combination of, do I choke down? But if I choke down, does that affect my take back? Or is the take back consistent and the choke down is what I do? I mean, there's about a million things going through my head over a 100-yard shot.
Dude, you're speaking my language exactly right now. I used to never, when I'm like in a groove, anything inside 100 yards, I normally don't even have to shoot it. I just kind of feel it. Now I've gotten so lost that I've now started to shoot it, but I have a 65-yard shot, I end up hitting an 80-yard shot.
Yeah.
I have an 85-yard shot, and I hit it 70 yards, and I'm so lost in that 50 to 100-yard range right now.
I'm also doing this thing now, and Mitch, I don't know if you do the same thing, or either of you can chime in on this, but like, I think I have it down. Like, I figured out, okay, weight more forward, forward press on the club a little bit. I got my feet aligned right. But there are times now when I'm not sweeping through the ball. I'm stabbing at it, and I'm getting like a really hardy punch shot that's taken a huge divot, but I know I'm not following through, and I know the velocity of the ball is just from that wham. So I'm like coming down on it more rather than sweeping through it, and I have no idea what happened. I'm not sure what I'm doing.
So you may be taking the club a little too far to the outside, and are you generally a drawer or a fader of the golf ball?
I'd say draw the ball. It's that hockey player kind of draw that they all have.
I gotcha. Yeah. So, I mean, you may want to get your hands just a little bit more around you for those shorter shots, as opposed to just taking your hands more straight back away from you. Keep those elbows a little bit more connected to your body, and then really make sure you're maintaining that connection into the follow through, because that's going to give you a little bit more of a sweeping motion rather than really dropping that club down behind it, feeling like you're kind of chopping wood a little bit. That should get you a little bit more shallowed out. That
makes total sense. And when I win money today on the golf course, I'll Venmo you.
Yeah, he's a wizard with the golf swing. Where we are not wizards, though, let's go back and revisit. So we had you on mid-April, I want to say.
Yeah.
And we gave you our Stanley Cup picks, and we were not close at all. Mitchell.
4, in fact.
Yeah, 0 for 4. Didn't even get one of the teams. Let's talk a little bit about the playoffs since we last talked to you. Your thoughts on just the level of hockey being played, and did you expect what happened, like seeing an Edmonton, Florida final? Was that where was that in your realm of possibilities when we started the playoffs of like, okay, I could see this team making it and that team making it?
No, hindsight's 2020. I could say that I saw it, and I did. I mean, Florida's a good hockey team, but I truthfully thought the Rangers or Carolina was coming out of the East. I certainly had strong feelings about Edmonton, and thought that they might figure it out. Who did I pick in the final? I picked Carolina and who? I don't remember.
I think you were Carolina Dallas.
I was Carolina Dallas.
I think
That's
you
right.
and Mitch were aligned because Mitch was Carolina Dallas.
That's right.
I think I was Carolina. I think I picked. Who did I pick? Mitchell, didn't we talk about that?
I was rooting.
Yeah,
I was rooting for my old coach.
Spencer, you had Vegas, Carolina in the final.
Vegas,
You
Carolina.
got bounced in the first round.
Yeah, great pick by me. Absolutely outstanding job by me.
Well, listen, I think the playoffs are such an enigma, and they change so frequently that it's going to take a hot goaltender. I know that the folks here at Hangar Club are rooting for the Florida Panthers because James Love, who is, by the way, the club champion at Cherry Creek and the proprietor here at Hangar Club, one of the geniuses behind it, and a very good golfer, obviously, by the way. His cousin plays for the Panthers.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so rooting. I know everybody here is rooting for them. I got my chips in that game too, but when going back to what I was saying earlier, I think in hockey, when they steamroll or when they get that momentum, the Oilers just are cranking right now.
Yeah, so we know you're on social media, right?
Yeah.
And you've seen kind of, what's going on off the ice with the Oilers, or
Yep.
We've all seen them.
Yep.
So what is the third biggest reason that the Oilers have made the Stanley Cup behind those two?
Man, what were you going to say?
Well, what
Number
we...
one and two are...
number 1 and 2 are there. Number 3's got to be McDavid, right? Or the power play, one of those two.
Here's the danger with Connor McDavid. You put Connor McDavid with the competitor that he is in the Stanley Cup final and his first crack at a cup after the season started the way it did, and then he championed his junior coach to be the coach. Man is on a mission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I will say, too, that the goaltending situation, shockingly enough, it did not look great in Edmonton almost all year, and now Stuart Skinner has been playing his ass off. When they closed out the other night, Edmonton only had 9 shots on goal and somehow walks away with a victory. That's insane.
Well, remember, that's what we talked about, too, when I was on back in April. We talked about goaltending being the X factor in the playoffs. I think back on some of the wins the last couple of years. Go to St. Louis Blues. Binnington was not the star, but he was the star in the playoffs. When LA went on their big run in 12 and then again in 14, it was Jonathan Quick who won him the cup, and in 12 he won the Conn Smythe. All those wins for the Chicago Blackhawks, they had Kane and Taves and Seabrook and Keith, but holy smokes, Corey Crawford played lights out. So, if you get a goalie that's zipping and hot, I think that's beneficial. The only thing that worries me a little bit about this, and it feels weird, and maybe it's just me not recalling things correctly, but this gap between the conference finals and the Stanley Cup finals beginning seems a little bit bigger than it normally is.
dude, I think both of it is kind of crazy to me. I know for sure hockey was doing a much better job of keeping their playoffs on schedule than the NBA. Mm-hmm. But the NBA, basically, they had so it may be like this in the NHL, would they had the NBA finals scheduled, you knew months ago what days the games were.
Right.
And so it's kind of insane to me that they can't change that up and be okay, I guess it does give a lot of players a chance to, get a break, but at the same time, that product, the first period for hockey and maybe half or even game for both teams in the Stanley Cup final and then also in the NBA finals is going to be a little sluggish, I think. With this break.
I agree. I think guys are banged up. Every single team in hockey, and I love hearing the litany of injuries when the season ends and, guys playing with broken feet and, et cetera. And he had lost part of his foot the other day, all this. I think that they're banged up, but I think that there's something to be said for the adrenaline rip that these guys have, and they don't. I don't know. I think if you asked them, they would probably not want this large of a gap between the conference finals, and especially with the emotional way that Edmonton kind of rolled through the very end of that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, do you think we're going to see so overall? I mean, obviously, two hot goalies right now. I wouldn't call Stuart Skinner a great goalie. Bob is what he is. He's very streaky, but also playing some good hockey. I think it kind of seemed like in the conference finals in the West, Dallas got Edmonton to play their style of game, but Edmonton beat them at it. And in the East, Florida, like regular season hockey and playoff hockey is very different. But do you think we're going to see a little bit more of a higher scoring Stanley Cup final than we saw in both the East and the West? Because, Florida playing against Igor, Dallas mucks it up, and they made it hard for Edmonton. But both those teams came through with that. Do you think we're going to see a little bit more open ice from these two teams? Because they are fast teams. They've got extremely talented players, all over the ice. Do you think it's a 4-3 more on these games, or are they going to be in the 2-1 range that we've seen for both the conference finals?
I think you'll see variations of that. I think you'll see 1-goal games. I think each team will probably have one flurry of offense, and that will probably come early because you're trying to set the tone. But after that, I think these two teams are going to settle in pretty good. I think the coaches for both are incredibly intelligent. Knobloch, as you said, tried to get lulled into a Pete DeBoer, Steve Spott style of hockey against the Stars, and he was able to counter that no problem at all. So I think Knobloch is doing his homework right now, and I think the benefit of a long break is it is basically the coaching staff and the scouts for both teams pouring through literally every single game that the opposition played in the playoffs.
Yeah, and just kind of dissecting that. Yeah. That Knobloch, the whole Oilers story is incredible because I think they started 3-9-1. They were a joke. They fired their coach, and Knobloch. Did you hear his ricochet shot at the Buffalo Bills the other day?
I did not.
So he was in an interview, I believe, yesterday or 2 days ago, and somebody asked him about the fact that if he was concerned about his team's chances in the Cup final because they don't have any really Cup final experience. And he said, ask the Buffalo Bills how finals experience helps you after they lost 4 straight Super Bowls. And so Buffalo Bills just took an absolute ricochet shot from Knobloch, but I thought it was hilarious.
Well, listen, 210 days ago, I think, or something along those lines are close, the Edmonton Oilers were the worst team in the NHL. And now they're, playing for the Stanley Cup. So we'll see what happens. It's gonna be exciting. I know everybody around here is pumped about it. There's a lot of hockey fans in Denver that even though the Avs are out, it's still an exciting time.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Denver is. I think I saw a ranking of hockey states, and Colorado was kind of low on that, and I know it doesn't have the stigma of Boston or
sure.
What's the other?
Minnesota, the state of hockey. Detroit is hockey town.
Detroit, we're not even 2 years removed from a championship, a national championship, or lack of a better term, at every level. The Stanley Cup, the DU winning the title, Regis, or I believe, or a high school team
Denver East
winning the national title, and then we even had Pee-wees.
Yeah, they won the Quebec tournament.
Yeah. So I was obviously, being from Denver, I was a little annoyed with that low rating. But I think watching kind of parlaying that into us being at Hangar Club today.
Yeah,
they've got all these games on. And it's incredible. It's an incredible spot to watch a game because you can sit on the couch here in front of us, from what you're seeing on the camera, or you can play golf, and the TV's right there. And there's TVs all over this place. They've got so many events here coming up. You can play Pinehurst, so the U.S. Open will be there. You can play that golf course here on the simulator. You got the U.S. Open coming up. They've got a lot of stuff for Father's Day, which is coming up here in a week or so. Every Friday they do live music on the patio we just talked about. Great spot back there to host an event, or just come on a Friday and listen to live music. And then, like you said, Stanley Cup, the Avs aren't in it, but this is still a great place to come watch sports. It's not just a simulator bar.
Wow, there's 7 TVs from where we're standing right now, the simulator behind us, bar adjacent, gorgeous couch area here. And from where I'm sitting, if I was hitting a golf shot on this simulator flipped around, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 TVs in my purview just right here that you could be watching literally everything that's going on.
Yeah, exactly. So come check out Hangar Club for the Stanley Cup, Father's Day, all of the events that they've got going on. One thing we did want to talk about a little bit too, kind of on a little bit more of a heavy note, but when I first met you here, 2 bays down, and ever since we've become friends essentially at this point. I consider us friends.
We are definitely friends. Yeah, of course we are.
So you have always had just a positive outlook on everything, and in the recent PGA Tour news, the whole Grayson Murray thing, kind of just want to let you have the floor for a little bit, just to kind of push those positive vibes, because ever since I've never seen you, and you have down times, like everybody does, and
100%.
you're in bad moods and things set you back, but you've never projected that onto someone else, and it kind of, inspiring is the right term, but it's just like, when I'm around you, I want to be a nicer person to the people I'm around.
Well, I think, and it is also, it's Men's Mental Health Awareness Month too, and I think, the tragedy of Grayson Murray is that you just don't know what people are going through. You really you don't. Sometimes it's the happiest people, or the people who are most struggling that put on the happiest face. So for me, it's always been about just trying to stay positive and trying to stay kind, and just understanding that it is tough out there right now. It is not an easy world for a lot of people, myself included. You mentioned it. I mean, it's been a weird year and a half for me as well too. I'm blessed and I'm lucky, and I've got amazing friends, thankfully, that have always got their arm around me. But yeah, there's not a single person out there that doesn't have some thing that they're going through, and I think that it doesn't take much effort to just be a nice guy or girl, or just smile at somebody, or ask how they're doing, or if you haven't heard from a friend in a minute, check in, or if the person who's normally the talkative one is a little quiet, just reach out, because you don't know what people are going through. And I've heard it too many times over the last year. I mean, obviously the Grayson Murray tragedy is very forefront and very shocking, and it hurts, and it affects a lot of people. But that's happening, a lot all over the place, and it doesn't always make the news because, unfortunately, it's just not on a profile level. But there's not anybody that isn't struggling with something. So it takes little to no effort to just be kind, give them a hug, tell them you love them, check in, smile, just do something. I mean, it's as simple as a text sometimes, or a phone call. I catch a little bit of grief for always being the nice guy. I know that sounds funny, but and there's a few people who if I love you, I tell you I love you, and I say it all the time. I'll give you a hug, and it's important to me, and I do it. And sometimes it's like, oh, you don't got to tell me you love me all the time. I'm like, yeah, no, I do.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I don't want anything to ever happen and for you to wonder about it. So I think in a world that is so difficult, but we're all together in, and it is a similar fight, you just got to be cool, and you got to be kind, and you got to go out of your way. Like, I have something that goes off in my phone every day. Not that I need the reminder, but it's, make somebody's life better. Do something every day to make somebody's life better. It doesn't have to be monumental or massive, but just put a smile on somebody's face, and I think, just to wrap it up, at the end of the day, one of my favorite quotes, and I believe it was Conan that was the first one to say it, and it was when his show was ending and he kind of got lambasted. It's, nobody in life gets exactly what they thought they were going to get, but if you work really hard and you're kind, amazing things will happen. And that's sort of kind of my mantra, and I try to do things for people even when I probably should be doing them for myself, but do whatever it does that brings you joy, but also helps other people.
Yeah, no, and sometimes helping other people can bring you. It's a 100%. Circular effect, a 180 effect of it brings them joy, but also helps you feel better about it. So,
100%.
So that wraps it up for us today, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Give someone some joy today. Be a nice person to a random person, like Harry Higgs. We played that, after that came out, just obviously the tragedy with Grayson Murray. And it's unfortunate that those things have to kind of reset us. But if it does anything, instead of looking past it, let it reset you, or let it, be that reminder that we need to be better people to everyone around us, because it just makes the world a better place.
Pure strangers. I'll give you one more example real quick, and this is a lesson that my father taught me, and Mitch, I think you guys will like this. My dad always used to tell us, he goes, you could be walking down the street and somebody could be coming towards you, and that person could be having the worst day of their life. Maybe they're on their way to go hurt themselves right? And you're coming this way and this person's coming this way, and maybe you're the person that drops your shoulder and bumps them and looks back and gives them the finger or scowls at them. Well, in that moment, maybe you're the one that just gave them that last little push they needed. Or in hindsight, why don't you just smile and wave or give them a nod or randomly say hello? And that little act of kindness, instead of being the thing that pushes them over the edge, could be the hand on the shoulder that brings them back. It's easy to do. It doesn't cost you anything. Just be a good person.
Be a good person. We love that. All right, Big Drive Energy. We will be back Monday after the Memorial Tournament. We'll be talking about the U.S. Open coming up. We've got a guest on next week as well. This is an exciting one for us. We will be back Monday. Enjoy the Memorial. Enjoy your weekend. Get out, play some golf. Get to the Hangar Club if you're in Denver. Play some indoor golf and where it's climate controlled.
It's very nice in here.
It's really nice in here. Yeah, it's great. And we'll talk to you guys on Monday. Peace.